I will.
And I'm Kevin. And this is the Will and Kevin Show. Welcome tonight. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below. As we do, we always jump into it. Will, what's tonight's topic?
Tonight's topic is going to be building a team,
Oh, that works for
building
me.
your team or your team, specific your team.
All right, so let's get into
So,
it.
okay.
Break it down for me.
So, w- well, I mean, it's a very deep topic because, we talk about so much gear and lenses and films we like but we know that we can't do it by ourselves. We understand that. And it's really a hard it's a hard wall that we run into because once we start, it's like, man, if I had somebody to do this, if I had somebody to do this, you need somebody, you need your actors, you need locations, and makeup. It's just so many parts. It's so many moving parts to
Mhm.
actually putting something together. But at that same time, it kind of strengthens you because you start to have to dabble in different aspects of putting your film together, and
Cool.
you start learning a little bit about all the different aspects,
Yeah.
whereas we just focus on the camera, but there's so much more to that. You know what I'm saying? It's like telling the story and getting the emotion involved, and lighting, and it's just so many pieces in there. And so you learn a lot even if you don't have a team. So when you get a team together, you kind of know some of the things where they can go, and then you can pass it on, and then somebody else can run with it. But because you've been doing it, you kind of understand it. Sometimes you understand it been the people that you're pulling in, they don't
Right.
really understand, and a lot depends on your drive and motivation too, because you can bring people in, but if they're not motivated, or they lose interest, and before you know it, you right back to square one. You right back to yourself again, because it all comes down to yourself. It comes
Yeah.
back to you. You know what I'm saying? So
Man,
it's
that's
almost like being an artist. You know,
yeah. No,
you got to know how bad you want it.
you hit it on the nose, man. It's good that you brought in that whole being an artist, man. I hate to throw Kanye's name out there because some people like Kanye, some don't. But his story is deep because as an artist, sometimes you have to master every part of the craft. Um, and in his case, he got his foot into Rockefeller with Jay-Z as a producer. He wasn't even a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
He was a rapper, but he couldn't get in the door as a rapper. So he made some
Mm-hmm.
tracks. And that's how Jay-Z recognized who he was. So after making a couple of tracks, he kind of was like, when you gonna let me rhyme? And while he had already had music there, Jay-Z never listened to it. And he let him listen to something that he made, and Jay-Z looking like, what? I didn't know you were nice like this.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you have to master another piece to get to your final point, right? So, and it's good. I'm with you on that. Um, I wanted to kind of break it down because when you talk about teams, a lot of people, and when we're talking about teams, it's like all of the roles when you're doing like your first film production, right? Or short film, whatever, you need a producer. And like Will said, you need somebody to get you locations. That's a job of one person on the movie. They get locations, they get makeup, they get wardrobe. That's your producer, right? That
Right.
normally becomes you too, right? It's your movie, you become the producer. But then you got your director. But guess what? A lot of times, guess who that is too? That's you. Because you're the only one that you feel comfortable overseeing the shooting, and the assembly of your movie, right? But
Mm-hmm.
another big thing is your cinematographer, your director of photography, your DP. So you need somebody that's doing that. You need your AC, your audio person, somebody to edit, um, just your whole production designer. And somebody, and a lot of times they all become you. And I know that's tough to hear because most people don't believe that you can do everything. But you know, what's the quote, Will? Necessity is the whatever to ingenuity. What is it?
The mother of invention.
Yeah, is the mother.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Right.
Of invention.
And that's crazy because all of these parts in the team, I'm gonna tell you the only piece I think that is very important if you plan to do a whole part. And this is for people that actually write their film. And that's a whole nother topic, Will, that I believe we can get into one day. Because you may hear me say, oh man, I got all these scripts. Really, I don't have these scripts. I have a story that I've written out, that I've expanded, and I have context statements. Context is the context of that scene, because in that scene, I want people to ad lib. Once you know the context and what I'm looking for, I want you to ad lib. And as a writer, I took that approach because one, the most important part that I just left out, I think is important, is screenwriters. And that having a team of people to say, you know what, that line don't sound right. You should change it. And my guy, Tracy Lee, his wife, Lori Lee, who's done a number of films, shorts, she's done his music videos. Even in her shorts that she's done, she's had a team of 4 or 5 people sit down as screenwriters and really get that final script laid out. Because you think what you're saying sounds good all the time. But once you let somebody else read it, they're going to help you and say, this is what I thought you were going to say, or this is kind of what I wanted to hear when you read that part. And it's always good to get some second ears. And I think as a one-man band, the reason I've become, oh man, I'm not going to write a whole script. I'm going to let people ad-lib, because I think when people ad-lib, they're going to give you what they think should be said anyway. Like, because, you know, you take enough takes with the ad-lib script. Let me just say what I believe in this, because in my short, and I watch people ad-lib, what I didn't do is allow for enough time. Whereas I might have did 3 or 4 takes, I really need to do 10 or 11 takes, or 12 or 13 takes. And because they were getting it. But I really, when you watch it over, I think, man, if they'd have done that one more time or 2 more times, they would have been right on point, even with the ad lib. So anyway, as I stay long-winded, because that's who I am, I really think when you're starting out, the best thing you can do is network. One way I've always given Will a lot of credit is when we go to a film festival, Will is on it, meeting all the people. He introduces me to people. Be like, oh, this is my girl, this is my people, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I don't network, because I talk a lot. But that's how you connect and create a team without knowing you're creating a team.
Right.
Like, and I'm gonna let you talk on this, but you got a homeboy. What's your boy? I mean, down in Florida. What's his name? That always came through.
Oh, Wayne.
Wayne. Yeah. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like, wow, you always got somebody there. Even if they weren't doing anything but maybe acting, what they were is inspiring you and giving you resources that otherwise you wouldn't have done anything, you know? Those things were dope. I mean, I think that's the dope part of having a team and building the connections. I don't know. I mean, but I sit here as a middle-aged guy with a ton of equipment, and I don't have a team. number of reasons I know I don't have a team. One, because I'm in my fourth state in the last, I don't know how many years. Maryland to PA, PA to Arkansas, Arkansas to Chicago. Hey, I'd probably have a team if I was back in Maryland. In fact, I know I'd have a team because my partner in crime on my other end right now would be my main guy on my team. So I know I would have at least a team of at least 3 or 4 people, right?
Right.
So that's my excuse. I do have an excuse, but it's no excuse when it's time to shoot. And I find myself back in the position now. I'm ready to go, and I got to find me a team because.
Right.
So, what's your thoughts on? Do you think a team is required to make a good movie, or do you think you can make a really good movie by yourself?
I think. Well, I know I would have to have a team, because the key point you made earlier was about the script and that writing. Yeah. That is so key, and that's why for a long time I watch a lot of movies, right, and just see how fast things get going in a script, and I always talk about John Truby and then they got some other big time writers, and they know that you're supposed to get things going like fast, like like what they say, within the first 10 pages or 12 pages, you got your story got to be starting to pick up. You can't just linger on and on and on with things that might throw your script off, repetitive dialogue. Nobody's saying anything, so your script has to get moving, and that calls for like planning ahead. Like where's your actors going? Like I credit myself with having good ideas, but sometimes good ideas doesn't necessarily turn into a good film. So I think I'm at a stage now where I'm starting to learn how to take the 1 or 2 or 3 ideas and then just attach them together to get the scene flowing. Because you can have a great idea, but then if that's all that it just filters out, where you going to go at? Like, where are you going? So I think now I've learned from basically watching a lot of movies how to get your characters and then put them on this journey, and then, let the ideas kind of fall off of that. So, and just string them out and just keep stringing the story out and just keep stringing it out. But you can't waste a whole lot of time because those movies get going fast, man. About 10, 12 pages, you starting to see what's going on quick. Right. Even if you know already what's going on. Before you go to the movie, you already know basically what the movie's going to be about. But the way they get that action going, that's the key.
Right.
That's the key, man.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, that script is so important. And it's a lot of work that goes into script writing. And it's more than a one-man job because it's kind of like writing a book. Every book goes to an editor. Every good book goes to an editor.
Right.
No matter how, no matter what it is. If you're getting paid for that book, it's going to go through an editor's hands before that book ever gets finalized. That's right. And that editor is not you. So that is important. And even in movie editing, that was the last part that I left out is, when your movie is done, I don't care how good you are as a director, as a cinematographer. And I'm going to stop saying cinematographer, but I'm going to stick with using the term DP because as we get deeper into films, into filming, I think you should be considering yourself a DP and not a cinematographer.
Right.
Because the director of photography has such a bigger responsibility than just being a cinematographer.
Right.
And so I want to call that. But after you've done all of that, the last step of anything you film, I don't care if it's a quick commercial, if it's a music video, if it's a short, if it's a feature, it's editing. And while you may have a direction for your movie and be the director, another thing that I've learned is if you want to really see what your movie can become, get an editor outside of your network to take your footage and make the movie. When I tell you, you can do your first cut, like, just to give them a flow of what you want the movie to look like.
Mm-hmm.
You give somebody outside of your crew your footage, man, they do amazing things because they give it that. Were you just talking about the juice? Was that you? No. I don't know what I was doing. But, you know what? I got to get off of YouTube, y'all. I know this is on YouTube, but I got to get off of YouTube. I was watching somebody and they said, but I thought it was you. This is so funny, Will. He said, I would edit the film. They would edit the film and they would give it to another cat and say, yo, I need you to give it the juice. I need you to give it the juice. And it was that last 5% of the edit that, for whatever reason, when you put it in somebody else's hands, they look at it and be like, you know what? This would be tight if it was in slow motion. Or, man, this would be hot if it had, or he missed, like a bird flew through the scene. He should have had the bird going through, like something that made it, that person that sees it from those fresh eyes. That's somebody else that could be part of your team. But here's where I wanted to take the conversation. Don't let not having a team stop your creativity. I think I've used it as an excuse to not shoot before. In fact, the only short that I'm actually proud of, and I've shot a lot of stuff, and I've submitted at least 4 or 5 things, be it Allstate commercials and all of those type of things. And I've done a lot of little dumb shooting on my own, right? But the only short that I'm proud of, which I'm proud that I completed it and it completed. Now, I'm not saying I'm proud that it was the best shot thing ever, but I share this story. My sound engineer was a 11-year-old girl at the time, my daughter. She was my sound engineer. And I gotta be honest with y'all, my sound didn't sound the greatest. She was using a Video Mic Pro into a Zoom H2 with some headphones coming out the Zoom, which is a great sound connection. Phenomenal. But she didn't understand levels. So she, I told her, hey, if it's below -12 dBs, let me know because we need to reshoot it or turn up the gain. A lot of my movie was less than -12 dB, so my noise floor had been introduced. It didn't have to be, but my audio engineer, my sound engineer was 11 years old, so I had to eat it. But it didn't stop that creativity. It didn't stop the flow. And I blame myself, some of the editing. I'm not the best editor in the world. So it was things that I could have done. My DP, he wasn't that good either. I'm talking about myself, of course. And my producer, who was setting up, my locations, he was terrible too. You know what I mean? So I'm not just blaming, my audio. What I'm saying though is, it didn't stop that creativity. And if anybody watches this, I want to say that, shoot what you're going to shoot. I think when you shoot and you shoot enough, that's your team going to come. Because once people see that you're working, people going to want to be down with your team. Because that's that bandwagon effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's what Will possesses way more than I do. I think he has a crew of guys that he has connected with over the years, and they recognize that we're working. Will shooting parties, he doing weddings, you know what I mean? He doing shots. Cats calling to go to Atlanta. Cats calling to go to, what island did you go to? Where you go? Turks and Caicos? Where were you?
Antigua. We went to Antigua.
Yeah, me, you.
Yeah, Antigua.
And people recognize him. You making moves. And he's always available to make a move. And that in itself is dope. And that is kind of the point I wanted to make tonight. I didn't want to beat people over the head with, what a team is. I really just wanted to say, yeah, here's all the parts of a team. Is it good to have those parts? Absolutely. Do you need all of those parts? No. I don't know. That's where I am, Will.
Yeah, I mean, that's excellent, because that's ultimately, it falls on Kevin Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately it falls on me if we're not working on a project together, of course.
Right.
If we're spearheading a project, people are going to look to us for answers.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of, like you said, it could be something as, with the audio or staging or script or the production values. They're going to look to us because a lot of times people haven't worked on enough things to know what to do.
Yeah.
So everybody is and they looking for you for that leadership. So,
yeah.
And since we always been wearing the caps, whether it's music side or some type of creativity, people's going to look for you to be the leader. And even if you don't have it all together, but you just step out and just do what you can and try to encourage them. And that's the big thing, is just try to encourage people to work together and believe in one another to try to get something done. I think that's what a lot of people lack, because there's not enough people really connecting to get people to have a hope, some type of hope. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, and that's heavy. Yeah. No, that's heavy. You're right. It's not enough people. It's so many. How many times has somebody said, "Oh, I want to sing. I'll sing," when they find out you got equipment.
Oh.
That don't mean they're coming through though, because they lack that hope. They want to do it, but fear comes in the brightest places. You know what I mean? I always say people think fear comes in the darkest of times. Fear comes in the brightest of places because people can't understand why it's so bright. People kind of recognize darkness, but think about it, if you're outside right now and it was extra bright, and it's nighttime right now where we are. I think it's nighttime for most people, unless you're outside of the United States. But you go outside right now at nighttime and it's light outside. That would spark more fear than if you went outside during the daytime and it was dark outside. You know why? Because you've seen that darkness during the daytime before. You've never seen the light during the dark. So, I mean, it's freaky to think about, but that's, to me, this whole game. Because I believe if y'all actually went to people that me and Will both know, we gave you a list of 30 or 40 people, they all would say, yo, I would help out. I want to, I want to be down. I want to sing. I want to help with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute me and Will reach out to those jokers and be like, hey, when you're ready, come on through. That list go real. I don't even want to talk about
go to zero fast.
See, I ain't want to say
zero
that.
Real fast.
I ain't want to say that, Will. I ain't want to say that.
And I think, and the thing about it is, it's like, and like you said, I've met some super talented folks, vocalists. I mean, you name it, man. I was like, wow, if I could put a song with these jokers, man, at least can get it out there to someone who can really do something for them.
Right.
Even if they, and I would encourage them to sign with that person or do that. I'm just trying to be that vehicle to help get them out there. And then from there, they can, maybe throw me a couple $, then I approve on my end, equipment wise, and get my little name out, and they'd be gone on because I would encourage them, get the contract, do what you got to do. And that would be a big feather in my cap that I helped somebody get to a level where they did that they might have been apprehensive about or just been in fear, period. Like you say, scared of that light. Right. So now they going on, and then I can get a little, closer to where I could be. And it was funny because I was looking at what movie was that? I was looking at Roxanne Shante. Did you see that on Netflix?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And it's funny because, I had a chance to meet her.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I took pictures of her, with the hip hop thing. You know what I'm saying? When I did when I was going up to New York for that. So I had a chance to meet Roxanne. And I met Marley Marl too way back in the day. It was funny, the guy that played Marley. And I was like, dang, I met him, her, and Marley Marl, in my little travels, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, that's kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. And I think about some of those different people that did get a chance to get in their circles, on stage with Rakim. I mean, literally right on stage with Rakim, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. And I always looked at those artists when I was younger and says, man, not knowing that I would ever come into contact, like, that type of thing, Hank Shocklee and Keith Shocklee. I met both of them. Wow. So, Bomb, with the Bomb Squad, with Public Enemy, met Hank and Keith Shocklee and people like that. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy thing, man.
Yeah. But
really, it's crazy.
We are, but we encourage everybody to continue with their dreams. You never know where it takes you. Don't let the one-man gang that you are stop your creativity, because like Will said, you never know down the road, hey, you may be in a position that you never thought you were going to be in. Will didn't go deep into it, but Will had, opportunities to shoot footage for the Hip Hop Museum, whatever, all of that. I forget what that whole thing was called.
Up in New York, the Hip Hop Museum, and and all. Yeah, like you say, I got a chance to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just, I want.
How about we was on the red carpet? We shot on the red carpet. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
We interviewed people on the red carpet. I mean,
right.
I remember the people.
We've had that opportunity where we the cats on the red carpet with the camera and the mic, and we've had all of those opportunities that you never think that you're gonna have starting out, and then when it come around and you get it, we got stories we can't actually tell you. I mean, when we're doing interviews.
Right.
On people premiering movies, and the chair break in the interview with the actor. You know what I mean? I can't tell you who it was, but they're like,
with the star.
Yeah, with the stars, right? We had that kind of fun. But
look, check this out. As you bring that up, I was watching one of the Greenleaf episodes, and I just sat there for a minute and said, wait a minute. I helped someone interview Keith David. All of them was in one scene together. Keith David, the brother that played on that kind of broke in with Tyler Perry films. The brother that what is his name?
Two names. You talking about two names? Two first names?
Yeah. He played with Jill Scott and them. He was he and Why Did I Get Married and
you mean the brown skin brother.
I can't think.
No, I can't even think.
Dang,
I thought you were talking about the producer that. I thought you were talking about the producer, not the actor. But I know who you're talking about.
No, the actor. You know who I'm talking about.
The one that played the sheriff.
And I sat there and then Keith David's wife. I can't think of her name. I met her too in Los Angeles. Yeah, I looked at the TV screen. I says, I actually interviewed 2 out of the 3 of those people, man. That's crazy. And I'm sitting back like shaking my head. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
And hey,
all 3 of them was in the scene together.
Hey, break this down. Whose team were you on when you was doing that work?
I was on with Diva.
Hey.
Diva TV, remember that?
Yeah. So and I wanted to use that to let people know that sometimes you may be like, man, I don't have my own team, but when you stay out there and active, cats be like, yo, can you be on my team? If only for one shoot or one interview or one moment, but you on somebody else's team and you get credit for doing all of those things. And it grows it grows what you've done. So no, that's dope. That's dope.
Right.
And you might find yourself.
That was crazy, man.
Yeah, like you find yourself in situations that you might not have been able to get for yourself. You'd be like, yo, rolling with Diva TV, I was interviewing all of these people. You know what I mean? I was shooting interviews for this person. And people are like, what? I didn't know you shot that interview. I saw that.
Yeah.
Like, you did? Well, so, no, you're right. You're right.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy. But
it all fall, and I really made them points. Not to toot my horn, but just to emphasize what you were saying earlier. Sometimes you have to be that one-man band, because if you're not going to push yourself to go out there, then those opportunities not going to come. Because if you're waiting for that perfect vocalist to come to your studio that you already have, or if you're waiting for somebody to write a script, or to this actor that you know can act to come through, sometimes they never come through. So by putting myself out there, like Kevin said, going to the film festivals, always having a camera and being ready. So when somebody asks you, hey, can you help me out tonight? I got my camera, I don't have a camera person for the red carpet. Can you do it? Sure. I got you a pass. Come on. So just because you're believing in yourself and you're putting yourself in a position that good things are happening to you because you're out there. That's basically what I'm trying to say. It's not about me. It's about putting yourself out there so things can happen good.
Woo.
That's all it is.
Y'all hear that, people? I think that's a dope note to close this session out tonight. Oh, by the way, before I go, I'm in the monochrome with my black hoodie on in representation of October in the Halloween set. Hey, it was a last minute thing. Trust me, it's nothing major. But anyway, as it stands, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. Hit us up on our email at willandkevshow at gmail.com. But for tonight, I'm Kev.
I will.
And this is the Will and Kevin Show. Y'all have a great evening.
Peace.